The #1 Kentucky Wildcats, unbeaten and unflappable, strut into Tuscaloosa behind Willie Cauley-Stein and his varied and invaluable skills. But today, the Big Blue Nation bracing for a colossal collision at Coleman Coliseum. The Tide poised to torment the Wildcats. Next. Under the lights at Coleman Coliseum, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. All part of Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Fans here ready to pop the top on Coleman today as we take a look at the standings in the SEC. Florida losing just a few moments ago in Athens, Georgia, no longer unbeaten in conference play. The one unbeaten, the Kentucky Wildcats. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, courtside, along with Kara Lawson. Thanks for coming aboard. Kara, John Calipari has never won here. He's been sounding the alarm for his team, telling them this is a different Alabama crew that won only 13 games last year.
Well, this is college basketball theater at its best. I mean, this atmosphere, it's electric. It feels like we're down the road at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's how great it is. And if you're Alabama, it's an opportunity to knock off the #1 ranked team in the country. It would be by far the best win of the college basketball season. The Tide are desperate for a colossal win.
This game has been sold out for about a month now, and Kentucky's coming off maybe its most impressive league showing. Willie Cauley-Stein leading the way for them.
The best defensive player in the country as a part of the best defensive team in the country. And here are some of the things that make Willie Cauley-Stein so special. He's a 7-footer, but he has the ability to switch out on on-ball screens and on off-ball screens, so Kentucky can keep the integrity of their defense. Here he switches out onto Stephen Moody, who's hot at this time in the game. One-on-one defense, and is able to corral the defensive rebound. How about curing some of the ills, some of your teammates' mistakes? 2 Harrisons go to 1 Ole Miss player here. Willie Cauley-Stein, he uses his intelligence, he uses his instincts. He runs the Ole Miss player off the 3-point line, and just for a little bit good measure, how about a block on the weak side? Keeping the integrity of your defense, having the length and the athleticism that this Kentucky team brings, it is a recipe for disaster of your offense.
Now, when you mention length, and you talk about having a lot of tools in your box to take on the Wildcats, Alabama goes into this game with some good tools, right?
They do. They do have some tools. The #1 tool is experience. When you look at the seniors in the backcourt for Alabama, Levi Randolph and Rodney Cooper, those two have to have big games. You got to have a steady diet of outside shooting, outside makes if you want to upset this Kentucky team because of their length and because of their rim protection.
Take a look at the starting lineups. For Kentucky, the Harrisons in the backcourt, Trey Lyles back in the starting lineup. Dominic Hawkins out. He went through a procedure late last night. Towns and Cauley-Stein up front. Obasahan getting the start for Alabama. Randolph, Cooper, Kessens, and Jimmy Taylor manning the middle for Alabama. And John Calipari, the head coach of the University of Kentucky, 37-4, but I mentioned 0-2 all-time here at Coleman Coliseum. Meanwhile, Anthony Grant, his counterpart today in his 6th season on the sidelines here in Tuscaloosa. His team coming off a heartbreaking close loss in Columbia, South Carolina several days ago. They're ready to bounce back here against the #1 team in the nation, Kentucky, off to their 4th best start in school history. This is Andrew Harrison up court for the Wildcats. Looking at a zone defense to start things off here.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of this as you see the nice deflection, and that's what Alabama wants to do. Levi Randolph, the senior, with the bucket. It is a very active zone. It's not a sit-back 2-3, hey, run your offense. It's guys that are going to get out and be very active, particularly their back line.
Randolph, one of the leading scorers in the conference, gets Alabama on the board first. Harrison inside to Towns. Kessens digging down, forces the kick-out pass. Cauley-Stein underneath with the putback and gets it to go. And Kentucky now, when they score, putting on a little full-court pressure.
Well, that's an issue right off the top when you play Kentucky. You see the offensive rebound. 45% of their missed shots, they get back. That's the highest mark in the country. You got to check out there if you're Jimmy Taylor.
Obasahan getting the start at the point guard for Alabama. Ricky Tarrant with a little bit of a foot injury, a toe injury. How does that affect the Tide today, do you think, down the road?
Well, one thing they should get is better offensive production off the bench, but we'll see if Tarrant has his explosiveness. Nice pump fake there.
Towns committing the foul. Randolph active out top here.
Well, Alabama is no shrinking violet on the defensive end. I mean, they get after you as well. And some of the best marks in the SEC, if you're just talking about conference play on that side of the floor. And Levi Randolph, great job with the deflection.
Randolph, a unanimous vote as captain this year. Been a long time since Alabama has actually designated themselves a team captain. Bosahan up front. Ball screened by Taylor. Bosahan gets it to fall. He's been a little bit of a forgotten guy. He was a starter for a large part of last season. And the crowd into this game early. Harrison easily to the bucket. We're tied at 4.
Well, any production Alabama can get out of Obasanjo this afternoon is big, because you have to think that your perimeter players are going to have to score the lion's share of points. That's how they're built. So anything that they can get from him is a positive.
Good hands that time by Andrew Harrison, and good hustle to retrieve the loose ball. Gets it to his twin Aaron. Towns fighting Taylor for position down low on the block. Finally gets it. And a nice look to Cauley-Stein. Boy, good interior passing by Kentucky.
Yeah, something that John Calipari wants to continue to establish. Get the ball into the paint. Force Alabama to show you their cards. Show you their cards early. Are they going to double? And right there, with drawing 2 players, Towns is able to find his teammate for a bucket.
Cauley-Stein had 13 points and 5 rebounds in that blowout win several nights ago against Missouri. Bosahan. Randolph gets it back out top. 9 on the shot clock. Good help by Cauley-Stein. 5 on the shot clock. Bosahan a little bit strong. Rebounded by Harrison. That's Andrew. Kentucky with all that size. In the backcourt on the wings, down low. Towns had it knocked out of bounds by Cooper. It'll stay Kentucky basketball with 15 seconds to go on the shot clock. We saw Cooper last week play a great game in Knoxville in that win on the road against Tennessee.
Well, they needed his offense. Levi Randolph was a little bit off that day. And that is something they worked on in shoot-around against the zone. John Calipari felt like that corner 3 could be open. It was a nice knockdown there by Aaron Harrison. He struggled a little bit from beyond the arc this year. He's
getting his rhythm back in the last game, went 5 of 7 from downtown against Missouri. There's Aaron. Cauley-Stein going to try one, a little bit strong. Towns with the rebound. Kentucky, an extraordinarily good rebounding team. And that jumper good by Andrew Harrison. And for all of their lack of 3-point and 2-point shooting at times this year, they've gotten off to a good start.
Well, here's the issue, Mark. 2 offensive rebounds equals 5 points. You cannot do that against Kentucky and expect to win the game. You cannot give them second opportunities. So Alabama, they have to shore up their boxing out against playing their zone.
Taylor trying to corral that ball out to Levi Randolph. Cooper with a nice show and go. Rodney Cooper had 7 points in that loss in Columbia. Getting off to a good start here. The lead down to 6. Cauley-Stein right down Main Street. And he'll go to the free throw line for a pair. Timeout on the floor. The Twins doing work.
A nice set piece right here out of the end out of bounds. And Aaron Harrison knocks down the 3. And Andrew says, I can do that too. Kentucky up 6 early.
Beautiful, somewhat unseasonably warm day. 12-6 out to the lead. The Kentucky Wildcats, one of the youngest teams in the NCAA D1. And out of 325 teams, they are 320th in terms of experience. But right now, youth being served and one of their upperclassmen, Willie Cauley-Stein, doing his part.
You know, he impacts the game in so many ways. And if you want to watch a great defender, watch Willie Cauley-Stein just for a couple plays. Don't watch the basketball when Kentucky's on defense. Just watch him and how many things that he walls off, whether it's a drive from a teammate's offensive assignment, blocking shots on the weak side. He does everything at such a high intellectual level on the defensive end.
We were talking about it as he missed the second foul shot. People seem to forget that last year when he injured his ankle against Louisville, things really changed, showed what a difference maker he really is with this team.
Well, even right there, I mean, he guards Tarrant off the screen, and then he's able to get back to Hale, who pops back. And so the pick and pop action, he can switch screens and still play both. He's just a phenomenal defensive talent.
Tyler Ulis and Devin Booker checking into the ball game for the Wildcats. Looking Tarrant in for the first time for Alabama. 5 on the shot clock. He's a bucket maker. Not afraid, like I said. Tarrant with the quick 3. Booker, he has been equally white hot from downtown. Over the last 6 games coming into this one, he made 17 of his last 22 threes. That's phenomenal.
He's playing with so much confidence on that end of the floor, and you cannot leave him. And he's got NBA size for a 2-guard, so that makes him an even more difficult check.
Tarrant out top, good deny on the wing by Lyles. Cooper had it punched at the rim. In transition, it's Tyler Ulis. Stein picks it back out, another 3 on the way. That one's strong by Booker. And Tarrant chases it down for the Crimson Tide. Down by 7 here with 13.5 to go here in the first half. Hale. A rebound, that's going to be a foul over the top on Jimmy Taylor. His first personal foul.
And it's such a smooth shooting stroke for Devin Booker, and Kentucky's done a really good job early of the pass out very quick. Sometimes you can't go same side because that's where rotation is, or the double's coming from the middle, but Kentucky able to go in and out on that double team same side, and Booker is locked and loaded there in the corner.
9 McDonald's All-Americans for the University of Kentucky. Meanwhile, we saw Willie Cauley-Stein getting a breather on the bench. Kick ball out of bounds on Kessens. Shot clock at 21. Ulis, Lyles, Booker, Marcus Lee, and Dakari Johnson on the floor for Kentucky. Got their white platoon in there now as Calipari has seemingly gotten back to a full platoon.
You know, Dominique Hawkins had played so well for Kentucky against Mizzou, and he actually got the start.
That'll go in, don't We saw him make some of those in shoot-around.
But, of course, with Alex Poitras tearing his ACL, he had surgery on January 6th to repair that. And Dominique Hawkins got the start against Mizzou. Played very well. Excellent guard off the bench. He's not able to play today. So, looks like we'll have more of a 9-man rotation in this game against Alabama.
Trey Lyles got the hook after that miscue on offense. Chance now to cut it down to 5 for Alabama. This is the beginning of a tough stretch of 5 games for the Crimson Tide as they throw it away. They've got Kentucky twice, Florida, Arkansas, and Auburn. That's an interesting stretch for Anthony Grant's team coming up.
Most important stretch of their season. When you look at Alabama and you look at the full body of work, they don't have a bad loss, but they don't have a great win. And when you're talking about two games against Kentucky, a game against Florida, and a game against Arkansas, that's your opportunity to have a great win.
That foul is going to go against Levi Randolph. Said a little bit earlier, Cauley-Stein on the bench. He's getting a rest, and Jimmy Taylor already with 2 fouls for Alabama. Ulis cuts through. Feed inside, and that's going to be another foul on the post entry to Dakari Johnson. Kessens whistled for that foul. That's his first personal foul. He was out top, had that big game in that rivalry win against Louisville earlier this year. Lee kicks it back out to Ulis. Nice speed, great passing by the Bigs as Johnson cashes in. This team is sharing the ball very well so far as the assists start to mount up. 4 of them already. Largest lead of the ball game for the Wildcats. Had Hale on the backdoor lob. Randolph takes it to the basket and is fouled by Ulis. Time out of the floor. And on this special upcoming weekend, we've got an interesting history lesson for you coming up on the other side. Stick around. Writes, many of the touchstone poignant moments came right here in the state of Alabama. There was the arrest of Rosa Parks, which led to the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955. Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail was penned in 1963. And the march from Selma to Montgomery propelled the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And right here in Tuscaloosa, there was the stand in the schoolhouse door where Governor George Wallace personally blocked the entryway of Foster Auditorium, attempting to deny the registration of black students Vivian Malone and James Hood. Interestingly, Foster Auditorium is now a national landmark and a functioning one, housing the Alabama women's basketball and volleyball teams. It's where my home court, folks, really has unique significance.
You know, when I think of this weekend, I think of the courage of so many people. And you talk about Vivian Malone and standing there face to face with Governor Wallace, and then 2 years later becoming the first African-American graduate of the University of Alabama. So a lot of stories of courage throughout the country.
Special weekend coming up. Nice look inside to Kessens out of the timeout, and he misses an easy one. Kentucky with all that length makes you think about it inside. Ulis out front. Harrison running the baseline, double team. Active hands by Levi Randolph. Great hustle by the senior. And Alabama up with a loose ball. Tarrant, 3. Halfway down and out. This place ready to explode. Kentucky, for the most part, has taken the home court out of the game. Ulis from downtown. Yes!
They are cooking, aren't they? I mean, they are cooking. And this team, when they make shots, I don't know that they're beatable. When they make shots, when they play like this on the offensive end, we know what they bring on the defensive end. They bring it every single night. But when they do this on the offensive end, and that ball is hot and they share it, it is something to watch.
Calipari has been indignant this year about one more making the extra pass. Hale from outside, and he hits the 3.
They need him. They need him to play well. They need him to look to produce on the offensive end. He's kind of had an uneven sophomore campaign, but he has the skill level on the offensive end to make a difference.
Aaron Harrison, meanwhile, missing the 3-pointer. Yeah, Hale was all freshman in the SEC a season ago. Averaging just under 8 points a game coming into this one today. And that is an errant pass. Randolph pats his chest, says my bad, as 4 Kentucky subs come into the ball game. Towns, Lyles, Cauley Stein, and Andrew Harrison. As Aaron Harrison stays on. Kentucky defeated Missouri 86-37 in one of the more impressive games of the season. Stein turns it over. Randolph in transition.
How good has he been on the defensive end of the floor? I mean, we talked about those 2 early offensive rebounds that resulted in the 5 points, and it's a 2-point game if not for that. Alabama is playing solid right now. They've just got to string some stops together, keep Kentucky off the glass.
Cauley Stein kicks it back out to Harrison. A whistle and a foul going to go against Tarrant.
I mean, this takes, first off, a whole lot of courage right here. 3 Kentucky players, and is able to flip that up just past the outstretched arms of the best defensive player in the country, Willie Cauley Stein.
Speaks to the quality of student athlete Randolph is. Says that he not only wants to be all SEC, he wants to be academic All-SEC and academic All-American. And right now, though, it's Kentucky taking Alabama to school with the shooting. Lyles with the baseline jump shot. It's a 9-point lead. Rossahan back in the ball game for the tie. Each time Alabama, Kara, seems to get a little momentum moving forward. Kentucky answers. Hale rejected by Willie Cauley-Stein. Between him and Carl Towns, they block a lot of shots.
They do, and I'm chuckling a little bit because Hale got free on a 3, and then he was open on an errant pass from Randolph. So what does John Calipari do? He puts Willie Cauley-Stein in because he's a guy that coming off the ball screen can guard that guard and get back and close out to Hale. So it's just a great individual defensive play.
Yeah, Kentucky leads the nation in blocked shots. 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Hale going to try another 3. That one's strong. Rebounded by Cauley-Stein. Aaron Harrison pulls it out. Inside to Towns. Wheels and punches it home around Hale. Calipari's been saying he doesn't want his big guy taking fadeaway and step back jumpers. That's the type of play he wants to see.
That wasn't fadeaway.
Rossahan off the mark. And a foul going to go against Norris. The bigs making an impact for Kentucky, Kara.
It's a difference maker. First, it starts with rim protection. You cannot get to the basket, and then one-on-one in the post. Karl Anthony Towns, he's getting more and more confident, and the Cats are starting to open this thing up.
25-14, Kentucky's length making an early yet indelible imprint on this basketball game when you look at the size that they have up front. Karl Anthony Towns, the 19-year-old, goes 6'11". Willie Cauley-Stein, a legit 7 foot. And there are a lot more where that came from. Lee goes 6'9". Trey Lyles, the freshman, goes 6'10". Dakari Johnson goes 7 foot. You add it all up, folks. And in the context of the NBA, only the Portland Trail Blazers would have a taller team. Pardon me, front court. Just a taller front court. That's pretty impressive.
And I'm sure that thought goes through your mind when you're the opposing team driving to the rim. And we've seen it already this afternoon. Willie Cauley-Stein, Karl Towns, the size that they have back there.
Harrison inside. Towns with a nice jump hook, missed it. What does Alabama have to do to get back in this ballgame, Phil? And you can't fall down by too much against this team.
Here's Alabama's dilemma. They were doubling some in the post early, and what did Kentucky do? They knocked down some threes. So now they've loosened that approach a little bit, and now Karl Towns is going to work. So when Kentucky is playing like this on the offensive end, it's hard to find a way to stop everything.
Rossahan picks it out. Inside, Kessens, double team, back to Cooper. 2 on the shot clock. This floater no good, and it's 1 and done at the offensive end. Cauley-Stein with the pull.
And remember, if you're Alabama, your best defensive post player, Jimmy Taylor, picks up 2 quick early fouls. He's got great size, and he would help you be able to try and contain Towns here one-on-one in the paint.
Whistle and a foul underneath prior to the shot. Hey, folks, tonight the Mountaineers bring the defense to Austin to take on the Longhorns. Then one of the best front courts in the nation, the Jayhawks take on the Cyclones. West Virginia, Texas, 6:15. Then Kansas, Iowa State at 9. And that Magic that's Saturday on ESPN, the home court of college hoops.
That's one of the best places to watch a college basketball game in the country. And Fred Hoiberg has done a terrific job there back at his alma mater, and they're a fun team to watch. I mean, they'll give you 23 transition points a game. Kansas better be ready to get back on defense tonight, that's for sure.
Towns knocks down a couple of foul shots. The lead is up to 13 with just under 6.5 to go. Good active hands by Harrison, knocked it away, but Alabama got it back. Hale back in the ballgame. Hale posting up the shorter Harrison. frustrated he didn't get it from Obasohan the first time. Cauley-Stein is going to switch back now, and they lose that advantage there. Deep into the shot clock once again for Alabama. Randolph. Kentucky clearing the glass. Lyles out to Harrison.
We'll see Lyles lurk around that baseline. He loves just a step or two in to take that J if he can find an opening.
Andrew Harrison missing. Towns inside. Got it blocked by Kessler. Taylor getting ready to check back into the ball game off the steal. The back tap. Harrison fouled by Obasohan. That's the second personal on him.
Well, this is just a phenomenal pass here by Trey Lyles. Just great awareness of seeing where Andrew Harrison is going to be and leading him. And that's one of the things that they've been working on with Andrew Harrison is attacking, using his size, using his strength, not flailing when he gets hit or when he doesn't get hit, and going in to finish the play. So that's a good sign that he's looking to attack and create contact.
Harrison twins out of Richmond, Texas. Worked out a lot down in that Houston area with the legendary John Lucas, former collegiate in Maryland, All-American. Played in the NBA. His gym, and those two continue to get better as some more subs come in. I've lost track with. I think we're back on the white platoon here.
We got a Derek Willis sighting here. Reserve can really shoot him. You can see him against the zone how they decide to deploy him.
Yeah, Willis, the 35 right there, kind of a forgotten guy. He was the first commit of that recruiting class that included Julius Randle a couple of years ago. Right now with the Los Angeles Lakers, as are several former Wildcats in the league. But it's Randolph. This is the largest lead of the ball game for Kentucky at 15. Kessler to Randolph. Nice look inside. Taylor with a pump fake. And all it did was get him more traffic. Wow. It is congested inside. When you look up and you're an Alabama big, you're just seeing arms and elbows.
You're going to get nothing easy. Nothing easy at the rim. And if you get something easy at the rim, you're going to get fouled, and then you're going to have to go to the free throw line to earn it. I mean, look at that. That's just a lot of size and a lot of athleticism. And, you know, Anthony Grant rolling the dice a little bit, putting Jimmy Taylor back in with a little over 5 left in the first half. Remember, he's got 2 fouls, but he's got to find a way to control Kentucky's interior offense.
Worth the risk, you think?
I think it is.
Yeah. Usually a pretty good free throw shooting team, second in the conference at just over 74%. Taylor at the foul line, #1 high school prospect in the state of Alabama last year out of high school, actually a couple seasons ago. Ulis up court for Kentucky, leading by 15, 5 minutes to go in the first half. The first 2 foul shots of the game for Alabama. Ulis. Johnson with 11 on the shot clock. And you see it so many times. Players stepping out of bounds, losing a sense of where they are on the court there. Willis with the turnover.
But what do we see? That's great movement after the pass. The defender turns your head. When you throw it into the post, you move to the corner, you're going to get an open look. And we've seen that play from Kentucky here in the first half multiple times against that zone.
Alabama hasn't scored in almost 5 minutes. Taylor couldn't corral that pass, and it's another Alabama turnover. That's their 5th of the half. Ulis up court. Alabama with a little half-court trap here. Kentucky handling that pressure well. Booker. Really knocked down a 3 ball. Been a little bit quiet since. Johnson out to Ulis from downtown. Rattled in and out. Willis with the putback, no good. Like he ran into his own guy when he was trying to shoot it there.
Yeah, yep. A little bit of friendly fire there, but you have to love, if you're John Calipari, the fact that you've got so many guys attacking the offensive glass.
Here's Tarrant out top off the Kesson screen. Kesson's inside, has a mismatch on Booker and couldn't make them pay. Booker with the rebound. The execution was there, but the bucket wasn't. The lead still at 15. And the scoring drought continuing for the tie. Lee with a turnaround. Soft touch and gets it to go. And the fans here looking for a goaltending as looked like a Kentucky player got his hand up in the cylinder, or at least touched the net while it's still live. A 17-point lead for the Wildcats. Randolph trying to stop the hemorrhaging, draws the foul. And that's going to send us to break. Alabama could use one right now. We'll be back on the other side of this. Not only Ralph Sampson, but one of my favorite players way back in the day, Othell Wilson, at the point for the Cavaliers.
Well, it was kind of odd to see Duke in that zone defense today. Abandoning the man-to-man.
That's sacrilege for them, isn't it? Levi Randolph trying to snap that scoring drought, which has lasted 6.5 minutes for Alabama.
I think losing 2 in a row was sacrilege to them, and Coach K was willing to do whatever it takes, and that's what you do.
Tough win in Louisville today. Now a little full-court pressure by Alabama. Do you like this move by them to try and change the tempo a little bit?
You got to try and speed the game up, and you got to see if you can get a deflection or get a turnover. You cannot grind it out in the half court against this Kentucky defense for 40 minutes. You got to find a way to get in transition and loosen them up.
Ulis running the point. The white platoon in the ball game. Ulis had a notion from the corner. Now Johnson on the block, and a great drop step with the left hand by Dakari Johnson.
Yeah, that's good to see. I mean, he had a little bit of a downturn offensively and just wasn't taking it strong to the hole like that. So that's a nice thing to see. Dakari Johnson, he can be a force down there in the paint.
Swarming defense coming up with another pinch. Alabama gets ripped. Johnson couldn't find the handle off that Ulis pass. Ulis has thick skin, though. I'll tell you a little story. They were playing pickup basketball this past summer in Lexington, Kentucky at the gym. And DeMarcus Cousins, a former Wildcat, now with the Sacramento Kings, should be an all-star, by the way. He got into Ulis's face. They were arguing over a call and whose ball it was, whether it was a foul or not. And Ulis went right back at him, and that's when the rest of the Wildcats said, hey, you know what? This guy's either really brave or really crazy.
I'm trying to picture how Tyler Ulis would get into DeMarcus Cousins' face.
Okay.
I was trying to figure that out. Was there a step stool or something? Part of that story that you didn't mention.
Oh, you got to say it with your chest sometimes. You know? Cooper missing the long jump shot. Out of bounds. It'll stay Alabama basketball. Well, for fans of big men, this is your game. The Detroit Pistons surging right now with a big win last night. Andre Drummond with a big tip-in at the buzzer to get them the win, taking on Paul Millsap. And the Atlanta Hawks 32-8, leading the Eastern Conference in the MLK Day special, 2:30 Monday on ESPN. Some NBA action for it.
How good have the Atlanta Hawks been? It's so fun to watch. We were talking about, just earlier, their unselfishness and the way they play.
A little unselfishness there. Kara gets an easy bucket for Jimmy Taylor. That's their first field goal in 8 minutes, folks. Fans here bringing the noise a little bit as we approach a minute to go in the first half. Willis on the drive, whistle and a charge. As the blue platoon comes into the ballgame for Kentucky.
See, holding Dakari Johnson with your eyes and with your direction of your dribble, that's just a great offensive play there by Cooper to get his big man Taylor a free look at the rim. And, Taylor's not an offensive guy, but when you can get your bigs, especially if they're not go-tos on the block, you can get them easy points that make them feel good. Taylor's a defensive player, but now he's involved. Now he's feeling good about himself going into halftime, and a smart job by Anthony Grant to put him on the bench.
We saw him, like you mentioned, he was involved against Tennessee last week and made some timely buckets. Kesson's out top. Harrison poking it away. 15 on the shot clock. Tarrant, good switch. Pick up by Harrison. Tarrant took out his do-it-yourself kit, and nothing came of it. Lyles fouled with the rebound. I tell you, he was patting it a lot there. Maybe that speaks more to the Kentucky defense, Karen.
It's what they like to do late clock. I mean, late clock, they'll put the ball in Tarrant's hands, and they'll run high picks, sometimes rescreen that action, and he's normally pretty good at manufacturing a shot in late clock. But that was solid defense there by Aaron Harrison just to make it contested.
Trey Lyles back in the starting lineup today. Coming off the bench against Missouri, makes the first of two. 6'10" freshman out of Indianapolis at 6 points and 5 rebounds in that blowout win against Missouri. Former SEC Freshman of the Week. They've had a lot of SEC Freshman of the Week in Kentucky this year.
Yep. Over the years, shoot. I mean, you go back to Anthony Davis, John Wall, Brandon Knight. I mean, you can go on and on and on with the freshmen that have had huge impacts for this Kentucky program.
Anthony Grant calls timeout. Calipari plots his strategy as well.
Roll Tide. Let's go,
The Tide not rolling too well right now.
Let's go, Tide.
As Anthony Grant's team trailing. They had an 8-minute scoring drought, which put them subsequent to that in a huge hole, down by 18 points. What do you like here on this last possession? Who do you like taking the shot?
Well, typically, again, late clock or into half, they'll have Tarrant go, but it looks like they're going to try and look for a continuity with Randolph or Cooper here.
Cooper to Kessons. Nice ball fake, and draws the foul on Harrison. They had a foul to give, so wise move by Harrison. Leaves 6.8 to go in the first half, and that's his first personal foul. That's Aaron Harrison as Dakari Johnson comes in for Towns. Tarrant inbounding. 4 seconds to go. Tarrant out top. And they turn it over. Harrison got a look at it, albeit contested. And Kentucky once again with their stifling, impenetrable defense. The third straight time they've held their opponent under 20 points. You saw the score at half. We're going to kick it back to the studio with the Mazda halftime report. We're just off of Reese Davis Drive here in Tuscaloosa, Reese. Campus at 4 o'clock. And Kara Lawson, I guess right now you could say that Alabama actually got its bell rung in the first half by Kentucky. Kentucky almost doubling up on the Crimson Tide. And coming into the ball game, they were averaging 31% defensive field goal percentage. That's what they've done on defense. Offensively, Willie Cauley-Stein has been all over the court.
He has. I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein is the best player on this team, and he makes his mark on the defensive end of the floor. And he allows Kentucky to do so much, have so much versatility. But we see the offensive rebound. Early, that was good to Kentucky. They got 7 points off their offensive rebounds in the first half. Nice little buddy ball there between Towns and Cauley-Stein. And this is where he really excels on the defensive end. One-on-one, you've got virtually no shot to score against him. And then defensive rebounding, limiting Alabama to 1 shot. So it was a complete performance by the Wildcats here in the first 20 minutes.
52% from the field, good percentage from downtown. A pretty good first half for the #1 team in the country, looking for their 17th win of the season against no defeats, and Tarrant getting the start here in the second half in place of Retin Obasan.
What do you need if you're Alabama? You need scoring. You've only got 17 points, and Tarrant gives you 13 a game. He's a guy that can get going, can get hot, and that's what Alabama needs here. A little bit of a mini run for their confidence and to try and cut into this lead.
Taylor kicks it out to Cooper from downtown. Cooper off to a good start here in the second half.
Well, that was in and out, but Kentucky did so well in that first half. So a perfect perfect start to this game on the offensive end for Alabama.
Ollie Stein fouled underneath by Jimmy Taylor. Here's a look at the scoring. Pretty balanced, and if you think about during the course of the year, they've had 8 different players lead this team in scoring. All preaching and paying off on the team approach of Calipari. That's the 3rd foul against Taylor. Go right back at him. Towns with the jump hook. Blocked by Taylor. And here comes Cooper. Missed it with the right hand. Lyles on the baseline, thought about it, now pulls the trigger. Boy, Cooper and Towns were wrestling underneath the position, no call. They're getting pretty physical underneath. You know, we watched Randolph last week against Tennessee, let the game come to him. Can he afford to be as patient where they are right now, Gary?
I think he has to look for his opportunity. That's his nature, is to be a little bit more patient. But when he gets in the ball screen action, he can't pick up his dribble as quickly as that, string it out, look to get openings. And how about the post players for Alabama and how they started on both ends of the floor? Very impressed with Taylor and Kessens to start.
The lead down to 13, and a nice little run out of the locker room for the Tide. Kentucky lead down to 13. Seth Greenberg of ESPN recently asked Calipari about his platoon system.
What I'm finding out with this group, the platoon stuff, I didn't do it to be a genius. I didn't do it to have them talk about cows. No, I did it because I was trying to play 10 guys, and I don't think you can sub 10 guys. I think it's hard to sub 9 guys, which we found out. The ideal number is 7. 6.5 is even better. But 7. 8, okay, but we had guys decide to come back.
How many of the 325 D1 coaches do you think feel sorry for you? Having a platoon, what a problem.
0. 0.
Made it sound like a national deficit in debt. Alabama turning up the pressure on defense. Tarrant clapping his hands out top. Ulis a little too physical as Tarrant gets whistled for the foul.
I love the way Alabama started this second half. Now, it's one thing to do it for 2 minutes. It's another thing to do it for 20. But I love the energy that they have on the defensive end, and they're distorting Kentucky's offense right now.
Kessens really laying off lead. Dared him to take that shot. Bakari Johnson going with it quick, and he's usually successful. Tipped up, no good. Rebounded by Alabama's Cooper. And that pass way too hot for Randolph. Ollie Stein coming in the ball game. Marcus Lee will grab a seat. Obasahan coming in for Alabama. As Tarrant will get a breather.
You know, those unforced errors, just they burn you when you're a coach. And you don't have to play a perfect game to beat Kentucky, but you can't miss layups. You can't throw possessions away. So Alabama needs to take care of the basketball and capitalize on the possessions that they have.
Lyles off the pin down. Ollie Stein pushed by Kessens. Had his hand in his back and rode him out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Kessens, a former transfer from Longwood University. Mid-major freshman All-American a couple of years ago. That's his 3rd personal foul. Ulis out front. Looking over to Ollie Stein. Ulis off the good screen. The floater. We'll call it a pass. Johnson couldn't catch. Jump ball possession arrow in favor of the Wildcats. Great play and pass by Ulis, but Johnson didn't have enough booster.
And it's just a really high-level play. I mean, he just manipulated that back line with his eyes, but Johnson couldn't stay up there long enough. Might have missed time to jump a little bit.
Towns forced to kick it out. Lyles inside to Towns. Towns might have come down with it. And good defense by Alabama on the interior. That's going to be a travel. Well, they got a whistle and a foul inside against Towns. Well, first the upset-minded Panthers battle Jahlil Okafor and the Blue Devils. Then Buddy Hield leads Oklahoma, number 18, against Perry Ellis and number 9, Kansas. Big Monday presented by Verizon. Tips at 7 on ESPN. Kansas, one of those teams that was dismantled earlier this year by this big blue machine, Kentucky. Randolph thought about it coming off that screen. Kessens with the step back, got it. Down to 11. And the crowd getting back in this game. Booker, nice speed, Towns. Great hands by the big man.
Yeah, that's excellent execution and poise. That's what you want to see. And this is only this group's second road game in the SEC. How do you respond when the other team makes runs and the crowd starts to get loud? Nice response there from the Cats.
Rossahan fouled by Ulis. A good ball movement by the Wildcats, Sarah.
Great execution. You said it. Good ball movement. Nice little drop pass by Devin Booker. And Alabama, they're making this a ball game right now.
Of the year, Defensive Player of the Year. And there's a look at the candidates mid-season from the SEC. Bobby Portis leading the conference in scoring, and Jordan Mickey averaging a double-double.
Bobby Portis is a phenomenal player, and Arkansas is off to a pretty good start to the season. And you take a look, there's only one Kentucky player on that win watch list, but the statistics, it's hard for these guys because they're sharing so many minutes and so many statistics to get on some of these individual watch lists.
Willie Cauley-Stein, you know, what does it say about Cauley-Stein that he averages under 10 points a game? And on that list, it kind of speaks to something that Anthony Davis accomplished. He was the 4th leading scorer on the Kentucky team in 2012 and was actually the number 1 pick of the draft. So you don't always have to be that double-digit prolific scorer to get noticed.
Well, you know, there's a lot more that goes into basketball, and I think than just scoring. And, you know, players know this, coaches know this, fans know this, that you can have a huge impact on your team by playing defense the way that Willie Cauley-Stein does. I mean, think about how many minutes and seconds throughout the course of a game that you don't have the basketball in your hands. Even when you're on offense, you're one of 5 players that have the opportunity to touch the ball. So the impact you can have without the basketball in your hands is far more impactful, or far more important, I should say, than when you do have it.
Rossahan out front. Cooper now. Taylor with the dribble hand. Randolph, little 2-man game. And Taylor fouled on his strong foray to the bucket, earning himself a couple of free throws. Good execution coming out of that timeout.
Yeah, so this action has been really good for Alabama. End of the first half, we saw this, and also here in the second half, right? Holding that post player for Kentucky. He's trying to protect. He's trying to make sure that that guard can't turn the corner. With your eyes and with your dribble, if you hold him long enough, you're going to have that little pocket pass to your post player rolling to the basket. We saw Taylor with a huge dunk just before half on the same exact play.
Towns, Lyles, and Ulis will take a seat. Jimmy Taylor. Folks, don't look at the rotation on that basketball for too long. Kind of looks like a Tim Wakefield knuckleball at its best. Harrison out front. Booker. Booker's father, you might already know, number 5 overall all-time scorer at University of Missouri. Harrison on the baseline drive. Booker on cue. A rare miss for him over the last 5 games. Chance to cut it to 10. Bossan kicked it off his own foot out of bounds. And Tarrant to come back in the game.
Kentucky has cooled off a little bit on the offensive end of the floor. Remember, they had 35 points at halftime, so they've gone 5 minutes and just 2 points. And certainly credit. Kentucky's now missed 6 to 7 shots in this half. So credit the Alabama defense and the activity that they have had here.
Aaron Harrison out top. There's Drew Harrison. Booker with 6 on the shot clock. Got to go. Forces one up, and why not? Devin Booker.
He's smooth, isn't he? He is smooth. He's got a very nice offensive game.
Back up to 14 for Kentucky. For the 17th win of the season. Cauley-Stein switches out. Got to be a mismatch somewhere. Cooper. 5 on the shot clock. Cooper, a contested 3. Wow. Maybe a sign of good fortune to come for the Crimson Tide. Cooper with 8. On the break. Tarrant got it. And here they come. Whistle and a foul going to be called against the Tide. Tarrant out there limping a little bit. Got that toe injury. That's why he didn't start tonight. But Cooper finding the range here.
Yeah, late clock, Kentucky will switch, and Cooper takes advantage. And Levi Randolph, we saw him do this in the first half too. Deflections, getting steals, and nice little finish there by Tarrant. And out hustling, out toughing Kentucky right now is the Crimson Tide.
Kesson's come out. Shannon Hale comes in. Ulis. Johnson with a post-up. Goes with it quick, and it's fouled by Taylor. And if it's on Taylor, I think that's number 4.
That's a smart play. It's a smart play. Call a play for Dakari Johnson on Jimmy Taylor, who has 3 fouls. Let him work and let him operate. And yeah, there's a lot of bumping going on, but clearly Taylor gets him coming down with his arm. That's a clear foul. And you got to be a little bit smarter for Jimmy Taylor. Know your value to your team. Your value to your team is when you're on the court. You've got 2 feet on the court, not when you've got your butt sitting on the bench.
Johnson, a 59% free throw shooter, misses the first. Former high school teammate of Michael Kidd Gilchrist, playing for the Charlotte Hornets in the league. They're transferring to Montverde Academy down in Florida. Lead back up to 10. Here's the true freshman, Justin Coleman. Levi Randolph on the bench, and that's a clear travel by Kessens.
Now, I would go to Dakari Johnson again. I would force Alabama's hand here. He's got Kessens on him, who's a little bit smaller. And I'd give him the basketball again, and let the big fella operate.
Ulis goes right to him, as you said, Tara. Weight room. That is a weight room move by big Dakari Johnson. Kessens just overmatched that time physically. Tarrant with the pull-up 3. Good hustle by Kessens, and another possession. Randolph getting set to check back in for Alabama. Hale on the drive. Tough shot, and Cauley-Stein clears. Ulis knocks down the three ball.
Yeah, that's how quick it happens, isn't it? I mean, Alabama was in it. They were +9 in the second half. They had cut down this lead, and just like that, Kentucky is able to stretch it back out.
Lewis with 6. That's going to be an offensive foul against Kessens. Trying to move Dakari Johnson out of the way. You got to get your bench press up if you want to cover this guy down low, Tara.
I love the fire Dakari Johnson is playing with right now. Great energy, and then back in transition, the little guy, Tyler Ulis with the 3. Kentucky stretches it back out.
Alabama surge, lead back up to 15 points. And folks, Coach K won number 998 today, winning 63-52 in Louisville. Duke, meanwhile, will host Pittsburgh on Monday as Coach K continues his quest to 1,000. Hey, look at the elite company that he will be in amongst. Those 4 guys added up equal 998. Izzo, Miller, Bennett, and Kevin Ollie started his fledgling coaching career. Full court pressure by the Tide. And Kentucky forced to burn a timeout. Gonna leave them with 2. We're gonna stay right here. 11:25 to go in the second half.
You know, one of my favorite things in doing Kentucky games is watching John Calipari's imitation of his guys' body language on the court, particularly when he's upset with them. I mean, it cracks you up. I mean, he was imitating Andrew Harrison just right there, how he was going towards the press, how he was kind of ambling over, and then he does it, and he does the different faces of his guys. It's pretty comical.
Animated as it gets on the sidelines. And, we had it mic'd up during one of our recent broadcasts, and pretty insightful. Great access that he had. 15-point advantage. You know, Coach Cal was his amiable self this week when he was talking about his off time. As we look at the graphic here, upcoming schedule for Kentucky. We get them next Saturday, noon start against South Carolina in Columbia. He said, hey, you know, so Mark, after I was fired from the Nets, I was the highest paid amateur golfer on the planet. He really enjoyed that time and gave him some pretty good perspective coming back to the collegiate ranks after that. Think about the great players that he's coached throughout the years. And all of his former players speak extremely highly of him. I had a chance to speak with both John Wall and Derrick Rose this past Wednesday calling the Bulls and the Wizards. This is the program and the highway to the NBA right now. Booker knocks down the first free throw.
Well, it's remarkable numbers. I mean, 19 players selected in the NBA draft during his tenure at Kentucky over 6 seasons. I mean, they speak for themselves. And this current crop of Wildcats, among them are many, many future NBA players.
Tearing up court. Cooper out front, guarded by Cauley Stein. Stein closes out on Hale. Those offensive windows of opportunity close quickly with the length, aren't they?
They do. Length and athleticism. I mean, they can just close down spots. A shot that you think is open all of a sudden is contested or it's blocked.
One and done at the offensive end. Harrison on the run. High finish. And the punch by Cauley Stein. Nice dime by Harrison. And Cauley Stein has 7. Randolph showing a lot of patience. At some point, he's got to shoot it, though. Get a few more of those. As Randolph now with 7 in the ball game. He's their leading scorer at about double that, a little over 15. One of the leading scorers in the SEC coming into this game this afternoon. Ulis left wide open, and he tees it up and gives him a bucket.
You know, Tyler Ulis isn't the quick trigger three-point shooter that Devin Booker is, but he shoots at a 45% clip on the season. You cannot leave him open. He gets his feet set, and he just knocks it down. Great weapons to have off the bench.
Largest lead of the ball game for the Wildcats. Just under halfway to go. so much anticipation, so much hype going into this game. It was circled on the calendar. Another Alabama turnover. It was circled on the calendar for so many weeks. And the Wildcats have taken the air out of the building by getting big air here.
Well, I love how Andrew Harrison waits. He waits to the last possible moment. That is an excellent decision. He's waiting for Willie Cauley-Stein to get into the scoring area, and he's waiting to draw that last defender over to him just a little bit in order to clear himself for the alley-oop. It's a great play by the guard.
Willis up court, breaks the full court press. Booker, money, cash. It's a 23-point lead. All right, Kentucky trying to write the obituary a little bit early here as we approach 9 minutes to go. Kessens on the drive draws the foul. And this building that had so much energy just a few minutes ago at the start of the second half is fallen flat. That's the first foul on Trey Lyles.
Well, Alabama had pulled to within 9, and then Dakari Johnson happened. He had just a couple big buckets. His aggression, his energy really helped change this game back into Kentucky's favor.
Tarrant on the drive draws the foul on Towns. You know, Towns moves his feet pretty well for a guy his size, but when you look at his feet, Towns, as he will go to the bench here, check out those Nikes, folks. Those aren't shoes, those are skis, size 20. Now he might grow a little bit still.
Yeah, they don't sell those at Foot Locker. They don't have that size at the mall. You can't get that at the mall. He's probably been special ordering for a long time.
You can go water skiing with those things.
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony Towns, remember watching him as a young 16-year-old playing for the Dominican Republic national team out in Las Vegas a couple of summers ago when Calipari coached that squad. The progression and advancement he's made since that time is remarkable. Cauley-Stein inside draws the foul. As Kentucky invariably and inexorably continues to pound away on the interior. Well, tonight the Mountaineers bring the defense to Austin to take on the Longhorns. Then with one of the best front courts in the nation, Kansas takes on Iowa State. West Virginia, Texas at 6:15, then Kansas, Iowa State at 9. Saturday on ESPN, home court of college hoops. Check out some of the numbers of Virginia. They really turn you over.
Yeah, West Virginia, I mean, if you haven't seen them play, you need to, because they attack. It's a little bit of a different style than Kentucky on the defensive end, but they are so effective. Bob Huggins has his type of tough, hard-nosed teams. And Austin is struggling a little bit at Texas right now, trying to find some scoring within the half court, particularly from their front line.
Bob Huggins' team looking for around 40, 45 deflections per game, reminiscent of those old Cincinnati teams he had defensively. Ulis comes up with the rip. Andrew Harrison. And Lyles missed on the fastball. A furrowed brow from the head coach. You never know, Adnan Virk, that his team is leading by 23. Back to you. Radiant day, a luminous day here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Things a little bit dim on the inside here at Coleman Coliseum, where the Crimson Tide have its 14-game home winning streak in peril right now. And in Alabama, as some people say, there's always football season.
There's always football season. Had some big announcements for some Tide players going to the NFL. Amari Cooper, TJ Yeldon, Landon Collins, one of my favorite college football players to watch. I watched a little pigskin, Mark.
There you go. That'll get you on next year. Randolph getting to the bucket.
You will not catch me interviewing Nick Saban. I'll tell you that much.
Harrison kept it alive, and Ulis will run another play. Because of their size, they got so many interchangeable parts. Harrison sliding over to the wing, the two-guard spot now. Booker off the baseline screen with 16 on the shot clock. Booker with a nice pull-up. Got it! Oh, butter! You know, Booker and Ulis actually have a lot of chemistry. They came up together as friends in elementary school. Played a lot of hoop together through the years. He's got 13. Ulis 24, make it 22. As Cooper goes to work.
Yeah, that was a nice move there by Rodney Cooper, but can't wait till we get a whistle so we can see that step back again. I mean, that was something. Devin Booker, man.
Now, coming into this game, he was 17 of 22 in the last 6 games from three-point territory.
Oh, man. I mean, that is something. Just the ability to create your own shot in a small space. In a small space. A lot of guys can drive in, use their speed, use their quickness to get around you. But in a small space, in a tight space, can you create enough time to get time and space to get your shot off? That's what Devin Booker does right there. I mean, we see Carmelo Anthony does that so well in the NBA. I think he might be, the best at it in the world at just creating enough space to get his J off. And that was a high-level play.
Ulis, another highly skilled player, knocks down a couple of free throws. 5'9" freshman from Ohio. One of those 9 freshman All-Americans. Pardon me, McDonald's All-Americans they have. Tearing out top. Whistle. Randolph stepped out of bounds. Well, a couple of freshman guards from the white platoon leading the way scoring today.
Well, in the second half, I mean, they've been able to knock down those three-point shots, and that's bumped them up to, at least Booker up to the double figures. And Ulis.
Garrett, what do you do if you're Anthony Grant? This is the beginning of a very vital, pivotal 5-game stretch as Ulis drives, where they get Kentucky not once, but twice, as Lyles banks one home. You mentioned they've got Arkansas, they've got Florida, they've got Auburn as part of that 5-game stretch, and a very important year for Anthony Grant.
What you do not want to do here is pick up bad habits and just play to finish the game, because as you said, you're playing for the next few games on your schedule. And if you're Alabama, this is the most important part of your schedule right now, these next 2 weeks. This is your opportunity to pick up a quality win. And so is it a disappointment? Yes, losing to the #1 team in the country at home. But you've got to find a way, because you can get some carryover. You can get some carryover if you play well here in the last 5 minutes.
Well, they've won 6 of the last 7 coming into this one this afternoon. Monday on ESPN, the Big 12 contenders clash as sharpshooting Buddy Hield leads number 18 Oklahoma against Perry Ellis and number 9 Kansas, part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic, Monday on ESPN at 9. As Dakari Johnson makes the first free throw, Ulis goes to the bench. Andrew Harrison comes into the ball game. There's talk of it. Both Harrison twins have seen their numbers take a little bit of a hit offensively this year, but the disclaimer on that is that with this platoon quote-unquote system, their minutes are down.
Yep. Certainly, your minutes are down. Your production is going to be a little bit down, and one of the things that they've done is to try and show their guys per 40-minute rates. This is what you would be doing if you were playing 40 minutes, scoring, rebounding, all the pertinent statistics, just to give them an idea.
Got to use all the tools at your disposal to sell them, huh?
You do. With 9 McDonald's All-Americans, yeah, you got to bring out everything.
Tell you what, Levi Randolph almost blew a tire there when he tried to pull up. He's going to tie up his left shoe and tighten that up a little bit. Possibly thankful that he didn't turn an ankle. Pretty quick stop. Those Nikes of his. His kick game is kind of nice, but his jumper's been a little bit off today, as with a lot of his teammates. Kentucky contests shots as well as anybody in the country this year. As the former high school wide receiver, Willie Cauley-Stein, will go to the bench. think that basketball thing is working out for him pretty well right now. As Calipari talked about when he went to recruit him, you always see him playing different sports, basketball not being one of them, football being one of the frequent sports you saw him playing. Tennis as well. Coach actually asked him once, hey, do you actually hoop? Randolph said ankle's okay. Always feels good on offense. Here's Harrison. Nice feed. Johnson with the punch.
You know, when you look at Kentucky in the big picture, and it's what everyone does, right? They're the most scrutinized team in college basketball. The area on the offensive end that they can improve the most, I think, is their post one-on-one play and finishing plays. And we've seen that today from Dakari Johnson, and we've seen the difference that it makes in their versatility on the offensive end. It just makes them a better basketball team.
Yeah, Staten got hands and fingers like the Artful Dodger back in the day. 28-point lead. DJ here at Coleman Coliseum was playing the Migos song Fight Night a moment ago. And, hadn't been much of a fight here in the second half. It's been all Kentucky as Alabama got to within 9 at one point, and then Wildcats just took off after that. A 3-ball good by Riley Norris. Offensively, you alluded to it just a moment ago. Inside with Lyles like that, and outside, the Wildcats had all the elements of their offense working in sync today.
Well, we saw early that Alabama with their zone was bringing 2 players to the post, and so their post players were kicking it out, and Kentucky was getting some clean looks at 3. But I think if they have guys that, not necessarily one go-to guy, but if they have Johnson and Towns and players that one-on-one on the block can score, it's really going to be tough to beat. It's already tough to beat them, but I'm saying as they evolve as an offensive team, to have those scorers that go strong to the basket makes a huge difference.
Well, great defense out front by Andrew Harrison, who's a much improved defender this year, to his twin brother, Johnson with a rebound. All right, Johnson with a little milkshake. Dream shake move and some slick handle as Aaron Harrison proves he's got power steering. And if this isn't the most unceremonious feeling and indignant feeling for Alabama fans as the cheer of Go Big Blue comes up from fans here at Coleman.
Kentucky fans were here bright and early. I mean, they were down in the hotel lobby eating breakfast before I was this morning. They were ready to go. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
They travel probably better than any group of fans in college basketball.
No, they do. I mean, hands down. They are the most supportive group of fans in college basketball. I mean, you go on the road and you might be the best team in a conference and sell out that game, but Kentucky sells out with 4,000 and 5,000 of theirs.
Followed by Shannon Hale. Out of blue all the way. Made the procession from Lexington here to Tuscaloosa. 5-point lead as Kentucky will improve to 17-0 overall and 4-0 in SEC play. Alabama will fall to 12-5. Bounce back. Lyles on the drive. Knocked out of bounds. Kentucky, the only undefeated team in the SEC after Florida lost earlier today in Athens, Georgia. And here's what it looks like moving forward. Kentucky has Vandy and then South Carolina on ESPN. Virginia at 17-0, the only other undefeated team. Willis from downtown. Vassahan with 43 seconds to go. Here's Norris. Hale inside, draws the foul.
So we talked about it, Mark. If you're Alabama, I mean, you've really got to focus and lock in here because you've got the tough stretch coming up, and you have a team that's capable, particularly on the defensive end of the floor, to get wins in this league. And offensively, there's some players, I think, that could step up and help them a little bit more. I mean, we talked about Shannon Hale and his ability on the offensive end of the floor. He's a versatile performer and can give them more production off the bench. This is a solid Crimson Tide team, but they're going to need to string some wins together in conference play.
Norris with the putback and one. Alabama has, as I mentioned, a tough 5-game stretch. Arkansas Thursday, followed by Auburn, and then the defending conference champs Florida. Another meeting with Kentucky coming up. But this is an improved offensive team this year for Alabama. Playing a little bit faster than a little season ago, a little bit more prolific as a bottle rains down on the court from a disgruntled fan here. .6 seconds to go. Kentucky will snap Alabama's 14-game home court winning streak with a win here this afternoon. And John Calipari will earn his first win at Coleman against 2 losses. 70-48, the final score, as the Wildcats sign off on this one. A balanced attack for the Wildcats as they get a couple of players in double figures. Coming up next, it's West Virginia taking on Texas. For Carol Lawson, I'm Mark Jones. Let's go to the studio with Adnan Burke.